Hello, Sanbonani Dumalang. It is Expressions, your favorite youth current affairs show, right here on SABC 1 and DTT. Dumlageo Kolosa Galubisi Unonkanyezi. Well, Mbugeliwe Expressions, up until the early 1990s, the rights of people in South Africa were determined by the color of their skin. Cities were segregated grids where blacks and coloreds were required to carry legal documentation in white areas. Izgolo, workplaces and public toilets were also divided by race. Uyaqonda ukhumbule wena Azaria nawe mbukeli apho ekhaya into yokubana 30 years have passed since kubekwa uNelson Mandela esihlalweni as the first black president of South Africa on the 10th of May 1994, and since apartheid was officially abolished. The first children born during this time, this revolutionary period, baziwa ngokuba born frees. They are now coming of age and they are the focus for this week on the show. I'm not rolling solo. I'm with Azaria Koza.
Yes, Mbogeli, is it great to have you right here on the show with us. Namhlanje, we are coming to you live and direct from our Auckland Park studios, phansi kwayindonga ziyaduma eJohannesburg. Sesigoqileke Mbogeli inyanga kaNhlangulana nokuyinyanga yabantu abasha kule laseNingizimu Africa. So we thought we should interrogate what exactly does it mean to be a born free? What opportunities come with being a born free? Kolosa, are you a born free?
Yes, born free. In fact, you
Viva ma born free, viva. But first, let us go to the streets to hear what young people have to say about the topic here.
They were set to be the face of a new democratic South Africa, carrying hope and prospects of a better country. These are Nelson Mandela's legacies, born frees. But is this generation really one with equal opportunities and freedoms? Or are these just a theory? Now 30 years post-apartheid, youth unemployment is sitting at an all-time high, whilst many other social ills facing the young seem to persist. This including teenage pregnancy, alcohol and substance abuse, amongst others. The ghost of apartheid continues to loom over the entirety of South Africa, a poison seeping into the once bright future of a nation's youth. For Expressions on SABC 1, I'm Tshego Fatso Magolego.
Sibonga kakhulu kuTshego for that insightful package. Now, Mbugeli, to join me to unpack this conversation right now, I am joined by Busisiwe Siyabe, who's a social justice activist, and also Untabseng Vocal T Sekhashwe. Guys, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much.
Good. All right, so namhlanje we are talking about born frees, you know, the kids that were born after 1994, definitely, which is Mandela's generation of hope, basically. And you are one of a born free and Tabseng. Can you just tell me, what does it mean for you to be a born free?
Well, number one, I would say I'm a proud one. So, yeah, you know, our parents going through those hurtful things, like us reading them as a new generation, to me, it was unfair in a way that I'm grateful that today we are able to do whatever we like, however, and we are free to do everything that we desire, you know, especially with education, you know, so, yeah.
All right, so Busisiwe, Untabseng just said right now, with being a born free comes with the freedom to explore life and do whatever that you want to do. Now, there's always this intergenerational conflict between abazali bethu and the born frees. You know, they have this notion to say, hey, Nina, if freedom yenu ininga kakhulu, and, you know, we are misusing it to a certain degree. Would you agree with that notion? The born frees are really abusing freedom yet just now today?
I think I must make it clear that even me, I'm a born free. So I'm also a Nelson Mandela baby.
Okay.
Apart from that, I do think that my generation and, you know, the recent 2K generation is ignorant of the fact that along with rights comes responsibilities. We're very quick to quote out our rights, that I have a right to express myself, I have a right of freedom of movement, but we don't associate or act in accordance with the responsibility that is attached to that right. And that's where, to a large extent, I think we differ with the previous generation or our parents, in the sense that they're more, you know, focused on the responsibility that comes with specific rights than anything else. And we must also remember that they grew up in a very strict time where they didn't have exposure to social media in the way that we do. They didn't have exposure in terms of education in the manner that we do as well. They didn't have, you know, social activities like the ones we get to engage in. And they were raised in a time where they were repressed and oppressed, and walking around in the streets was something that was considered to be illegal to some degree, depending on which side of the road you were walking on or which bench you were sitting on. So that, from that perspective, we must be able to understand that there is going to be a disparity.
Yeah. All right. So in terms of saying, you know, we have modern challenges that are facing born frees. You know, we have inequality, we have unemployment, the staggering numbers of unemployment, just to add. So I just want you to tell me, when as a born free, do you feel like now we have more and greater opportunities than our parents did?
I feel like we do have, but the problem is, for me, I feel like we are not exposed to serious things. Because like she said, she mentioned social media. We are too focused on the things that might and might not help us. You understand? And we forget to, okay, fine, you can buy data, and you can buy data to search for something very important. To me, I feel like there are jobs out there, but it's just our focus. As
we're not consuming
we are
things
not
that
really,
should add value employment. Okay, so speaking of jobs, you know, essentially our research shows that more than 3,500 individuals own umnotho like South Africa, which is about 15% of, you know, our country's wealth is in their hands. You know, I just wanted to speak about the inequality between our societies. You know, where do you think we are going wrong, or we're not doing well as a nation?
It's important for us to remember that the disparity that we currently have in society in terms of class division is one that was institutionalized by the apartheid regime. So even when, you know, 1994 happened and we moved into a democratic dispensation, we still had to deal with the economic and institutional repression and apartheid that we faced. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to deal with that effectively, which has created and exacerbated things like gender-based violence, that has exacerbated things like, you know, lack of education, lack of employment opportunities. I might agree with the fact that there are, to some degree, employment opportunities, but it is very difficult for young people to be able to access them because there's a skills mismatch. The market, or rather private sector, wants a specific skill set, and young people today do not match that specific skill set, and that becomes the disjuncture, which means although there are many jobs, or there can be many jobs, the young people that should be assuming those positions can't assume them because there's a skills mismatch. I mean, I think DJ Zinhle spoke about this, and she got, you know, fired at by the public when she says that there is an unskilling issue in South Africa, and that's a reality that young people don't want to face.
All right, so in terms of saying, now we've seen with the Mandela's generation of hope, you know, the racial lines are being blurred. Now we can go anywhere with any type of person, you know, when it comes to skin color. You know, now we can be friends with whether Indians or white, whatever racial, you know, the race the person is. Now, do you think it's all rosy for us to just being friends with, but do you think maybe there are zikhona inkinga ezingumsinsi of us being an interracial generation?
I feel like zikhona, but we cannot express them enoughly, because to me, I feel like that you're still facing within the apartheid era. Because even today, when you walk on the streets, someone would just tell you, you understand? So I feel like there's that fear within us, keep what's within us, and be fair with ourselves. We really need change. We have to change. You understand? Apartheid, yes, it was there. There was a lot of things that happened, but we just have to move on.
Okay. All right, Aigem Bugeli, we're still talking about Mandela's generation of hope. You know, the born freeze. Right now, let's go to an ad break. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back. You are still tuning in to the biggest youth show right here on SABC 1 and DTT. Kamalen Kubo Yokaloko Expressions. And today we are putting a spotlight on bond freeze. It's 30 years after the first general elections. The question is, how can we empower bond freeze in South Africa? Be sure to interact with us on our social media pages. Sikoneka Logupago Facebook, Ikamaliti Expressions. Twitter, or knownly as x.com. It's expressions_10. Right now we are joined by Unaledi Dube. I'm talking about Miss Teen SA 2013. She's also an entrepreneur. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Mama?
I am great, Naledi, the star. Naledi, you are from Soweto, and we know that Soweto, you know, it was known as one of those townships that are rich historically. I mean, we've had June 1976 uprising in Soweto. Yeah. I mean, I want to know from you, as a young person growing up in Soweto, how was it like? And looking at the state of our country, unemployment issues, education and all of that, I mean, do you feel like the sacrifices that were made by Hector Peterson, were they worth it? Is Tintswalo even real?
You know, I think more than anything, those that came before us that fought for the liberation of our country really just made it a point to see things are easier for us, right? But I guess with the political structure of our country, things aren't the way they're supposed to be. So growing up in Soweto is amazing. I still live in Soweto. I was born, bred, buttered in Soweto. I love the fact that, you know, I stem from a township that carries so much of our history and heritage. So, I mean, there's a lot that can change. We come from far and there's still a long way to go. So, yeah.
There's still a long way to go, certainly, yeah. Naledi. And another thing about you is also that you are a traditional healer. Togo's a go-go. And I mean, as a born-free, being a traditional healer, and I mean, we know that post-apartheid, I mean, it was something that was taboo. Even traditional worship and African spirituality, it was something that was looked down upon. And you'll remember that during COVID, it was quite clear that, I mean, indigenous healing is somehow sidelined and the Western medicine was prioritized. And I mean, we even have great imbonis up in South Africa, the likes of Obabu Credo Mutwa. Yes. I mean, we look at massive events happening in the country and we reflect and reference some of his prophecies. Yeah. We have Imboni Uzuleza as well. I want to understand from you, do you feel that, I mean, with your space of indigenous healing, is it fully embraced and recognized?
Look, I think we're getting there. Like, I love that you mentioned Ubabu Samazulu Credo Mutwa, who was the heart and the core of Abantu Bagwantu. He carried a lot of our stories and, you know, all these prophecies that you talk about are what shaped us as a country now. I could say that traditional healing in this country is slowly growing. People are becoming more expressive. You know what I mean? Born freeze, because back then in their time, they weren't able to do that. You know, traditional healing was very sacred. You wouldn't, it was, you know, they weren't able to be vocal like we do. You know, today we have traditional leaders who are in parliament. We have traditional leaders who are also on social media doing teachings. So I could say that there's a long way we still have to go also when it comes to the traditional healing space. But we have a long way to go, honestly, yeah.
Yeah, we still have a long way to go. And earlier on, Naledi, you touched on our political structure. And now, the President Ramaphosa, you know, we have now the GNU, President Ramaphosa announced this bloatful cabinet. And I want to understand from you as a young person, do you think, I mean, the new ministers, they reflect, I mean, the will of the voters? Are we really represented?
We're not. We have to be honest as young people in this country. We are not being given an opportunity to lead. I feel like the older generation, they are the ones that keep being recycled and taking, you know, e-kundla and stuff like that. And I think that our country could be in a much better place if they allowed young people to, you know, to take charge and lead and be a minister and be all of that, you know. So I think we're not saying we don't need them. They could be there as our anchors and show us indlela and
but
mentor
also
us.
nabantu abatsha mabebaphakathi.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, when Naleti, we have young people, you know, especially born frees who
Yes.
are deprived of opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
Umuntu uhleli endlini uvuka uqaqele emilanga because unemployed.
Yes.
Omnye akhona nto ngathi uyayenza. Ndiyafuna wethu uphosa amazwi to young people. I mean, how do we reclaim our power and be a generation of problem solvers born free?
I think remembering where we come from, our core values as abantwana bagwantu, that's very important. If we carry what our ancestors and our forefathers taught us, then I think then things will be different. We just need to carry that with us. That's the only way we can make well of what's not well.
That's amazing, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. Yeah. Thank you so much for your insight, Wena Naledi, representing Soweto. Right about now, Mbukeliwe Expressions, Masiti Pui Evenkeleni Inseka Ugungri. You are still watching your favorite youth show, Expressions.
This is Expressions right here on SABC 1. And namhlanje mbukeli sikhuluma ngama-born frees. Now, these are Mandela's kids, now the generation of hope. And I'm still joined by Ubusisiwe Siyabe and Vocal T, Untab Singh. Okay, so Untab Singh, before we let you go on the other side for your performance, I just want you to tell me, Ugutuwena, according to you guys, as ama-born frees, yiziphi mhlampe iy'nkinga okanye iy'ngqinamba, the impediments and the obstacles endibana nazo as born frees?
Well, I would say sonke we are very clever, but we do not share that amongst us. Everyone wants to focus on what they want to do. You understand? So that thing, it limits a few of us, born free. Uguti, you voice out, or Uguti, if you want to become a dancer or an artist like me, now you don't know like where to go, which door to knock. You understand? So those are the things whereby we need to learn them before Sizo Wazugu, like before Sizo, before Sizo keep Agtina that thing that this is what we want to do. Yeah, understand? Yeah. So yeah, I feel like we are asizwani, honestly. No, we are born frees, but asizwani.
We have to have a lot more collaborations and working together. Yes. Yeah. All right. So, Busi, before we went to an ad break, Ukolosa was having a very insightful conversation on the other side, and she also mentioned the new cabinet that was just elected right now. You know, we also, from the voting polls, as young people, we voted. Nama born frees now are voting, some of them for the first time. Do you think that, you know, young people in South Africa now, they want to be part of the solution? Now, looking at the cabinet, Eketwe Izolo and the ministers, do you think, Oguti, they reflect, or are they going to assist us to deal with inkinga as bigane youth lapse in Africa?
I think the honest truth about the newly elected cabinet is that they're new. Many of them are in positions we've never seen them be in before. And it's a variety of political parties as well. So we would have to give them the first 100 days in government to be able to determine if they will be able to apply a mandate and to enforce policy. Because we can only judge a government on the first 100 days of its administration. At the moment, anyone who says they don't have faith in a particular minister or they do have faith in a particular deputy minister is unaware of the fact that we still need to give them time. And I think as younger people, we do have the leniency of affording our leadership time. When we went into these elections, we went in with the understanding that this would be our 1994, and indeed it was, because now we have a coalition government, a government of supposed national unity. So from that perspective on, I think one of the things we must be cognizant of is to give them the first 100 days. I mean, it would have been great to see people like Fasia Hassan as the Deputy Minister of Women, Children and People with Disabilities and Youth. It would have been, you know, fantastic as well to see Nompendulo Mkhacha as well within higher education. It would be great to see young people deputizing these ministers, but unfortunately, from the prerogative of the president, he didn't feel that young people were necessary.
All right. So, Vocal T, I need you to go on that other side for you to get ready for your performance, right? Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, now Mbugeli lapho ekhaya ngicela ukhumbule ukuthi kule viki elizayo khona lapho ku-Expressions we are going to be talking about the newly elected cabinet kamongameli wethu uRamaphosa. So I also want to talk to you and Tabsing about there's this notion that us as the youth here namhlanje we are not angry enough like the youth back in 1976. And I know that as a country, we are fairly a young country. I mean, more than 63% of our population are people between the ages of 15 and 34. So sibancane. But there are a lot of, social ills around. And someone might say that we are not angry enough for us to take part in being part of the solution. Do you think that's the case?
I don't think it's that we're not angry enough. I do think that there is rage, there is anger amongst young people. I think inkinga yethu ukuthi sibhekisele endaweni wrong.
Yeah.
It's not directed in constructive manner. This is why young people are so susceptible to drugs. This is why they're so susceptible also to easy money, right? And unfortunately, what we are seeing from my generation and the youth in particular is that we aren't being afforded the opportunity to self-actualize in the manner that we expected to receive, those opportunities. And that is creating a lot of frustration. And we are, to some degree, anticipating some sort of an unled revolution similar to what happened in Egypt, in the sense that young people will then stand up not only for themselves, but for the future of this country.
And in Kenya as well.
In Kenya as well, what we're seeing now
Yeah.
with regards to the finance bill, right?
Yeah.
So we are expecting to see young people activizing themselves and being activists in their small spaces. We're seeing it happening on social media already. What we're waiting for now is to see young people on the ground. I think the Fees Must Fall movement is a clear indication that young people are not lazy to go and protest and activize on the ground. But what we do need now is collective unity and a singular mission that as young people in this country we want to obtain. If we were to get a singular mission and objective, I do think that we could do amazing things as young people.
Yeah. So we're about to wrap up right now. The future for Born Free's Wethu. Is it bright? Is it bleak?
It definitely is bright. Not only does the future belong to us, but we will dictate how the future unfolds. We will continue to collectivize and activize around ourselves. We will continue to fight the injustices in society. We will continue also to, break this unemployment scourge and this gender-based violence pandemic that we're currently in. So young people have a very bright future ahead of them.
Bright future. Insightful show, Colossa.
It was indeed. And the future is now. As a young person, start where you are with what you have. That's how we wrap it up. Tonight we have Vocal T standing by with the song titled Kiani. Enjoy.
Bye.
Ai kombise kuichina njani shipelane. Mita china china china, I china china chine, I china china chine, hakiani. Mita china china china, I china china chine, I china china chine, hakiani.